Hi everyone, Pete here. Thanks for watching Yahweh's Messenger. Look around. You can feel it, the unease, the sense that things are coming apart. People are angry, divided, shouting past each other, convinced their side is right and the other is evil. Every headline seems designed to crank up anxiety and push us further apart. It's a strange time to be alive, but this isn't new. The Bible is full of stories about chaos, division, and leaders steering society toward disaster. Nations lost their way, societies crumbled, and the same human drama played out again and again. What we're experiencing is part of an old story about human nature, power, and what happens when people ignore their creator. Societies trade timeless truths for trendy ideas, then act surprised when things fall apart. The Bible doesn't just describe chaos, it explains it. When a culture writes its own rules and ignores the instruction manual, the result isn't freedom. It's confusion, conflict, and the mess we see today. We're drowning in information, but starving for wisdom. We have endless ways to connect, yet we feel more isolated than ever. This isn't just a modern problem, it's a recurring pattern. The names and places change, but the story stays the same. The Bible shows that when people turn from Yahweh's ways, chaos follows. It's not just about politics or technology, it's about the human heart. The mess we're in is the result of forgetting the principles that hold us together, and that's why everything feels so chaotic. If the world is this chaotic, who's really in charge? We look at our leaders and often feel discouraged. Some seem incompetent, others driven by ego or greed. We vote, campaign, argue, and hope for the best, but often end up disappointed. The Bible offers a different perspective. The Most High is sovereign over the kingdoms of men. He gives power to anyone he wishes, not just the qualified or popular. Behind our elections and politics, there's a higher authority at work. The Apostle Paul wrote that there is no authority except that which Yahweh has established, even under the brutal Roman Empire. This doesn't mean Yahweh approves of every action, but no one holds power without his permission. It's a challenging idea, but it means history isn't random. It's a story with a divine author. From presidential palaces to local councils, leaders are part of a larger narrative. Understanding this helps us navigate turbulent times with less panic and more faith. We're not powerless. We're part of a story bigger than ourselves. Yahweh's plan is at work, even when we can't see it. The chaos of leadership is not outside his control. Our job isn't to despair, but to trust that there's a purpose behind it all. The Bible's message, Yahweh is still on the throne. Leaders come and go, but his authority remains. Our hope isn't in politicians, it's in the one who appoints them. That's the first step to finding peace in a chaotic world. And it changes how we see everything. It's easy to believe Yahweh appoints good leaders, but what about the tyrants and the corrupt? The Bible's answer, yes, even them. Yahweh uses everyone, good or bad, to move his plan forward. Pharaoh's stubbornness in Egypt. Yahweh used it to display his power to the world. Pharaoh thought he was in control, but he was a pawn in a bigger story. The Assyrian king, Isaiah calls him the rod of my anger, a tool Yahweh used to discipline Israel. These leaders weren't aware they were part of Yahweh's plan, but their actions served a purpose. It's a tough pill to swallow, but Yahweh's perspective is bigger than ours. We want fairness, but Yahweh sees the end from the beginning. Sometimes he allows wicked leaders to rise so that his light shines brighter in the darkness. He's playing chess while we're playing checkers. The Bible shows that Yahweh can use even the worst rulers for his ultimate victory. It's humbling, but it means nothing is outside his control. Our challenge is to trust that, even when we don't understand. The story isn't about the leaders, it's about Yahweh who uses them. That's the profound truth at the heart of history, and it changes how we see the world. The Bible is full of case studies showing Yahweh's hand in history. Pharaoh's pride led to the plagues and Israel's liberation. He became the unwilling star of a divine spectacle. Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian king who destroyed Jerusalem, is called my servant by Yahweh. Yahweh used him to judge Israel, then humbled him until he acknowledged Yahweh's sovereignty. Nebuchadnezzar's transformation from tyrant to believer is dramatic and telling. Then there's Cyrus the Great, a Persian king praised for allowing the Jews to return and rebuild the temple. Isaiah called Cyrus by name long before he was born, and said Yahweh would use him to fulfill his promise. Yahweh called this pagan king my shepherd and my anointed. From Pharaoh to Nebuchadnezzar to Cyrus, the pattern is clear. Yahweh moves the pieces, using both the hard-hearted and the benevolent. Even Caesar Augustus and Pontius Pilate played roles in the story of Yahshua. These rulers were threads in a tapestry they couldn't see. The Bible's message, Yahweh is always at work, even through unlikely people. History isn't random, it's directed. The lesson, no leader is outside Yahweh's reach, and every ruler, knowingly or not, serves a purpose in his plan. Why does Yahweh use all kinds of leaders? It's not just a power play, it's a lesson. When a nation abandons wisdom, it often gets leaders who reflect that. Leadership becomes a mirror of a society's spiritual health. Good leaders are a blessing, but even then, our faith shouldn't rest in them. They're flawed and temporary. Bad leaders force us to realize our hope can't be in politics or human systems. It drives us to depend on Yahweh alone. Yahweh's sovereignty is on display. He can work through anyone. When a tyrant falls or a pagan king brings restoration, it proves Yahweh's plan isn't limited by human rulers. These stories are more than history. They're reminders that Yahweh's will prevails. The ultimate lesson is humility. We see a moment. Yahweh sees the whole story. Our outrage is temporary. His purpose is eternal. Recognizing Yahweh appoints all leaders shifts our focus from earthly thrones to the eternal one. It calls us to trust more, complain less, and see the bigger picture. That's the perspective that brings peace in uncertain times. Ancient stories of kings and empires aren't just history, they're mirrors for today. Human nature hasn't changed. The same struggles for power and the same tendency to forget Yahweh are still with us. Every election cycle, we hope a new leader will fix everything, but disappointment follows. We're still looking for a human king to save us, just like ancient Israel. The real problem is spiritual, not political. Global alliances shift, empires rise and fall. History keeps repeating. The Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, and Romans all had their moment. Yahweh moved the chess pieces then, and he still does now. Today's political ideologies and global agendas are just new versions of old struggles. The Bible claims a divine hand guides history, no matter the players. The props change, but the director is the same. Yahweh's script is still unfolding. The lesson, don't be fooled by the new costumes, it's the same story, and Yahweh is still in control. The Bible lays out a simple principle. When a nation honors Yahweh's ways, it thrives. When it turns away, it unravels. It's not always dramatic. Often, it's a slow decay. Israel's history shows this pattern. Obedience brought peace, rebellion brought chaos. The prophets warned that ignoring Yahweh's ways would lead to corruption, insecurity, and defeat. Today, we see similar symptoms: lawlessness, family breakdown, loss of purpose, and instability. These aren't just political issues, they're the result of abandoning moral and spiritual anchors. It's not about parties, it's about a deeper cultural shift. When a society tears down its foundation, the structure wobbles. Teaching that truth is relative and morality is optional sows seeds of decline. The chaos we see is the harvest of ideas planted long ago. The Bible's warning is clear: blessing follows obedience, chaos follows rebellion. The symptoms are familiar because the cause hasn't changed. The solution starts with remembering what we've forgotten. So what should people of faith do in chaotic times? The Bible's playbook is clear. First, pray for all leaders, not just the ones you like. Prayer is an act of trust, asking Yahweh to guide those in authority. Second, live as faithful citizens. Obey laws, pay taxes, show respect, but remember your ultimate allegiance is to Yahweh. When human laws conflict with Yahweh's, obey Yahweh. Third, stay vigilant and hopeful. Be wise, discerning, and prepared, but not fearful. The Bible promises Yahweh is in control, even in hard times. Our posture should be watchful confidence, not panic. Engage the world, don't retreat from it. Trust that Yahweh's purposes will prevail. Be realistic about the present, but optimistic about the future. Faithful action, not despair, is the call. That's how to live when the world goes sideways. After all this talk of chaos and decline, here's the hope. Restoration is always possible. The Bible is a book of redemption and makes a stunning promise. If people humble themselves, pray, seek Yahweh, and turn from their ways, Yahweh will heal their land. It's a conditional promise, but it puts restoration within reach, no matter how far gone things seem. The key: humility, prayer, seeking Yahweh, and genuine repentance. This isn't a political solution, it's a spiritual one. Our hope isn't in parties or programs, but in Yahweh's character. The same Elohim who used Pharaoh, Nebuchadnezzar, and Cyrus is still sovereign today. Yahweh's plan is bigger than any crisis or election. Yahweh is a Elohim of restoration, able to heal even a nation on the brink. The final message: no situation is hopeless if people turn back to Yahweh. In a world on fire, that's a hope worth holding. The story isn't over. Restoration is always on the table. Yahweh's invitation stands. And that's the hope at the heart of the Bible. So what do we do with all of this? Maybe you're feeling the weight of the world's chaos, or maybe you're just tired of the noise. Remember, history isn't random and you're not powerless. You have a role to play right where you are. It starts small: a conversation, a prayer, a quiet act of kindness. Maybe it's choosing hope when cynicism feels easy, or seeking truth when confusion is everywhere. Yahweh's story is still unfolding, and you're invited to be part of it. Don't let fear, anger, or despair call the shots. Lift your eyes. Look for the fingerprints of restoration, even in broken places. The world may not change overnight, but every act of faithfulness plants a seed. So take heart. The chaos isn't the end of the story. Restoration is possible, hope is real, and Yahweh's invitation is for you too. Thanks for watching, and remember, even in uncertain times, you're never alone. Let this message be an invitation to study the Bible daily in this busy life. I pray that you can get a blessing out of this message. Yahweh bless you all. Shalom.